In the blistering heat of the Roman sun, the roar of the crowd echoed across the Colosseum, a cacophony that filled the gladiator's chest with dread and fury. The sand beneath his feet was slick with blood, and around him, his fellow fighters, once fierce and proud, now appeared off. Their eyes glowed with an unnatural hunger, their faces twisted in silent suffering, their movements jerky, almost robotic. A strange disease had swept through the city, but no one spoke of it, not in the Colosseum. The spectators cheered as if nothing was wrong, but the gladiator could see it in their eyes. The fear, the exhaustion, as though they themselves were teetering on the edge of collapse. Something was wrong, and the more he fought, the more he realized the truth. The Colosseum was a cage, and its denizens were trapped in a nightmare. He fought his way out, bloodied but determined. The gates opened, and he sprinted through the corridors of the arena, barely escaping the grip of those who tried to drag him back. The air was thick with the smell of decay, the city itself suffering from the disease. He was free for now, but outside the true battle had only just begun. The countryside stretched endlessly before him, but he knew it wouldn't be long before the soldiers would find him. The emperor's men were relentless, hunting those who dared defy the system. He'd fought in the Colosseum, but now he was just another fugitive. The sound of marching grew louder, and the gladiator ducked into the shadows, drawing his sword. He was outnumbered, and the soldiers were closing in. A confrontation was inevitable. A skirmish broke out, steel clashing with steel. Despite his skill, the gladiator found himself being overwhelmed. His strength was waning, his body ached from the previous battles, and the soldiers were too many. Just as he felt the weight of defeat closing in on him, a monstrous shadow loomed above the battlefield. From the tree line emerged a figure, a massive creature whose form defied all reason. It was a gladiator like no other, a towering gorilla, encased in ornate Roman armor, its design glittering with gold and precious stones. The beast's eyes burned with intelligence, and its chest heaved as it roared in fury. In a blur of motion, the gorilla's powerful hands swiped through the soldiers, sending them scattering like leaves in a storm. The gladiator could hardly believe his eyes as the creature dispatched them effortlessly. As the last soldier fell, the gorilla turned its gaze toward him, its face inscrutable. It spoke, but the words were foreign, incomprehensible to the gladiator. The sound was harsh, guttural, an unknown language perhaps from a time long forgotten. Before the gladiator could respond, the gorilla moved swiftly, grasping him by the waist with a strength that made the gladiator's own muscles feel like water. The gorilla bent its knees, and in one leap, they soared high into the air. The world below them blurred into a mosaic of green and brown as they ascended, leaving the soldiers and the land far behind. "Who are you?" the gladiator gasped, barely able to catch his breath in the wind. But the gorilla remained silent, its gaze fixed forward as it carried him into the unknown, the meaning of the strange words still hanging in the air like an unsolved mystery. They vanished into the wilderness, and the gladiator knew, somehow, that his life had just taken a turn from which there would be no return.